All right, Anton, what is the update to the fire situation at that rental property that got lit up by that guy?
Lit up by the guy. So it's not a rental property yet. We're building a dadu, and there's a single family home in the front, 2 dadus in the rear, and someone walked in and just decided they were going to grab all the plumbing scrap, throw accelerant on it, and light the new construction home on fire. Flames were 60 feet in the air. It melted the single family in front of it. It scorched the house next to it and melted the neighbor's house to the north. Thank goodness for the fire department. But what I want to talk about real quick is just like, what are mistakes that we made? What did we learn? And then like, this is going to cost us $100,000. So I don't want someone else to just be stuck with something like this. And originally when I said that number, I was like, maybe it won't. And then we got served by the neighbor's insurance company this week with a demand letter. And I was like, crap. So here is the mistakes first. When you're doing new construction, you need to get a type of insurance called builder's risk. Some people don't even get it. So that's
rolling the dice a little bit.
They're like,
living on the edge.
Yeah, living on the edge. So one, always get builder's risk if you're going to go build a new product because it's not insurable otherwise. And then you need to get builder's risk that is specifically designed for the type of construction of the type of property you're doing. And when it includes development like what we're doing, you have to notify them as the land changes from single family lots to condo lots to a subdivision, whatever it may be. Another mistake is that people want to just rely on a general liability policy for their business or a homeowner's policy. There were multiple policies here. The next thing, another massive mistake, they underinsure it. So if you think the structure is going to cost you $350,000 to build it, insure it for the full $350,000. Don't insure it for $250,000. It's cheap. And the cheapest protection is insurance. Spend the money, sleep good at night. What's really funny is I'm the optimist. My partner is not as optimistic. Some would even call him a little bit pessimistic. So he's always worried, something's going to happen. We got to do this. And I'm always like, it's never going to happen. And then when it actually burned down and scorched 3 other properties, he goes, told you so. Told you the rainy day was coming. And what also happens too is we want to make sure that the materials are covered when they're on site. The tools are covered when they're on site. The equipment is covered. Also that you're protecting the site. You put up your fence, you put up cameras. If there wasn't cameras, this arsonist would have never been caught. And then you have to understand that some policies will specifically exclude or have limits to theft, arson, especially when the property is vacant. Well, what happened? Our builder's risk does not include neighboring properties. So the property to the north, unfortunately, they had like a gazebo. It melted into the ground. The fence burned to the ground. We put the fence up anyway, so we're going to rebuild that. But their property is partially damaged. So the insurance company, when we went and knocked on their door multiple times, reached out to them, never heard a peep, probably because their insurance company said don't talk to them. We took it offense and personally, like, hey, maybe they don't like us. But no, the insurance company probably said don't talk to them. The insurance company already cut them a check for $18,000. And then served us a demand letter 2 days ago for $26,000.
Another 26 on top of it?
Yeah. So basically they're saying it was our bill was $18,000 and then their expenses were $8,000 to do that. So they serve us a bill for $26,000. So we send it over to our insurance company, our builder's risk, and they're like, we don't cover offsite properties. Boom, we owe $26,000. But we also have to go hire an attorney. So you have to hire an attorney because just because you owe the $26,000 doesn't mean the claim is closed and doesn't mean they also aren't going to sue you. So you have to go hire an attorney to get them to negotiate because maybe they can get some money off, and they have to get the claim closed that they're not going to come after you for anything else. But the crazy thing is we're construction people. We could probably fix it quicker, better, faster, cheaper. You just got to talk to us. We're the nice neighbors. So things to be thinking about is like, where does my liability start and stop? Your liability stops where the problem stops. So we didn't cause this problem, but the liability burned down someone else. Well, not burned. It scorched someone else's property, burned their gutter, burned their gazebo, ruined part of their siding, ruined part of their roof vents. And even though it's an unforeseeable criminal act, the liability can still fall on you. The only thing you can do is get builder's risk to protect at that level and make sure your general liability insurance would protect at that level, and that the single family home that was originally on the property was also protecting at that level. Oops, this is a bit of a mistake. Oops, this is going to cost us money. Also, you want to make sure that you're doing some type of basic prevention to make sure that you were then not found negligent. Because if you were found negligent, even if it wasn't your fault, your insurance may not cover you, such as cleaning up after yourself, such as not leaving accelerant around, such as fencing, such as cameras, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as soon as we got permission from the city to knock down the burned down structure, we did. Why? Because there were nails sticking up and boards sticking up, and we didn't want someone to wander into the property and then for us to get in trouble. So it's actually called a subrogation claim. And that's when they come after you because your insurance company won't pay out. So don't admit fault. Get your attorney immediately involved. Send it to your insurance companies to see if they're going to pay for it. In our case, they're not. So this is just the start. We also have interesting things like the concrete is definitely marred. In other words, it was too hot while stuff was sitting on it. So concrete's physically solid, but it's got burn marks into the concrete. So we're going to have to replace parts of the concrete, but we're not sure if insurance is going to cover that. There was one piece of concrete that was so hot it cracked. Okay, we know we got to replace that one. The other ones are just cosmetic. But what's very unclear is where insurance starts paying, stops paying. So what you have to do, and my recommendation to everyone is you're going through this, you need to shoot pictures of everything. You need to document all of your receipts. And then when you change or do something, you need to re-document it. And then also expect it to cost a little bit more. If putting in the concrete was $15 a yard, and I'm making the number up, to install that, it's going to be 10 to 20% more because they can't do it all at once. Plus, you've got to bust it out. In other words, you got to rip it out before you can replace it. So here's what we learned and what I want you to do. I want you to go review your insurance once a year for your rental properties, for your primary house, for your cars. I want you to make sure that your public liability umbrella is active. It's naming you, it's naming all of your businesses, and that's a minimum of like $5 million. It's cheap insurance. If you're going to build, you need to get builder's risk. You need to understand the risk you're taking with your builder's risk, what is covered and what is not covered. Have your insurance broker explain the exclusions to you, to go through hypotheticals of when you would pay and when you would not pay so you would understand it. You can also grab that insurance policy and drop it right into ChatGPT and say, what are the risks associated with this property? What are the included items and the exclusions? And say, explain it to me like I'm 5 and I don't understand anything. It will literally create you a giant list. P.S. I had never done this until we had the problem. It creates you a giant list of how your policy works, how it operates, and you can sit there and ask it questions. Amazing that we're able to do this today. So I'm Anton Stetner. If you want to join us on more construction, land development journeys, hit that magic subscribe button and let us know any questions or comments that you have about insurance below. And thank you for listening.